welcome to a new video. In this video, I am going to be making the bracers for my new white Ahsoka cosplay. Alright, so here is my paper pattern that I am using. I pretty much just took 3 measurements of my arm, so how far down the sides of my wrist I wanted it to go, how far down the side of my upper forearm the whitest point would be, and then how long the entire thing would be, and then just basically connected the dots. I folded it in half when I cut it out so it was symmetrical, and then these are just the detail lines. It is folded on this side just so that I could actually use this as a straight edge for marking these panel lines on there. Making it out of 3 layers of 2mm craft foam. So the top layer is going to be those paneling details, so you can see kind of I have marked those on the edges here, and then I have a 3rd layer that is slightly wider to have that layering detail, because you do see that it is like 2 layers and you can see the edge around the bottom layer like that. And then I do actually have a 3rd layer underneath that I will be gluing on curved to help it keep that curved shape. I am not going to be heat sealing this just because I did try that in a test, and when I heated it up, these lines, because I am using a pen to kind of like push them into the foam, these lines did end up just going away, so that wasn't very useful. Also, my heat gun kind of fried, so I don't currently have one. So I'm just going to draw these panel lines in. I'm just using just a basic pointed pen. Alright, so I have all of my panel lines cut in, and then I cut out the little detail for her comm link button area. So what I'm going to do now is glue this panel down to this panel, and then once that is all dry, I will glue this one underneath to make sure that it curves. So then it will, yeah. I am just going to use hot glue just because that is what I have, and it is currently too cold to go outside and use contact cement, which I don't even have in the first place. Alright, so here it is glued together. I do still have to add the buttons in, but I am going to leave those separate until everything is painted and then glue them on after everything is painted. It is just 3 rectangles, so it's nothing hard. But here it is, all glued together. There's that inner piece holding it in that curved shape. So now I am going to paint it. I do have this dark, like silver gunmetal that I mixed up already, and I am just going to give it several coats of this until I'm happy with it, and then do some detail painting. So here it is with that base silver coat. So I did 2 layers of black as like a primer layer, and then 3 thin layers of this silver color. It is still a little bit wet, so I'm going to let it fully dry, and then I am going to do some light silver weathering, and then I am going to put some black on those recessed lines to kind of help make things pop. Well, I have my silver weathering on there, and I'm really happy with how it looks. So now I am going to go into these panel lines and put some black in there just to help with the contrast. So I have those black lines painted in, and it is a little hard to see just because they're in the cracks, but it really does help with that contrast. So now that that's done, I am going to do the piping around the edge. So I did go ahead and make some. So I just got some cording from the fabric store, and then I actually found this fabric in the remnants, so I got it for a really nice price, and then just cut it on the bias and made some piping. And I'm just gonna hot glue it on to the edge around here. For the piping, I had originally wanted to get more of the same fabric that I used for that middle sharp panel, but that fabric is a little on the pricey side, and this stuff was a remnant, so it was like 70% off. and it is close enough for me. I have the trim on, still have a couple of hot glue strings to pull off. So what I'm going to do next is actually sew the sleeve that this is going to attach to. So this is the general shape. It does kind of slope, narrows in on the underside of the arm, and then kind of widens out where it goes underneath the bracer. So I do have 2 layers, so I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch along these 2 ends, flip it so it's right side out, and then do a stretch top stitch on here because she does actually have visible top stitching on these 2 ends, and then I will sew it together and then just again use some hot glue and glue it on. Alright, so I have the sleeve all sewn, and now I am just going to hot glue it to the bracer, and I'm just going to put hot glue on this seam right here and just glue it to the center of the bracer, just so I can keep this stretched so that I don't limit myself or risk accidentally gluing down too much of the fabric and not having enough stretch to get it on. So that is all glued on now. And again, I just glued it down the middle and kind of a little bit on the sides of the seam, just so I didn't lose that stretch of the fabric and I could keep as much of that stretch as possible. So now I am going to do the crossing strips of fabric, and I'm just using some, I think this is 1/4 inch grosgrain ribbon. This was the only thing that I could find, so this is what I'm using. So she does have 2 strips on the top. She has 2 strips here and 2 strips here, and they do cross on the middle. Yeah. And the other thing is you can see on the inside of the bracer that the ends of the ribbon do tuck under here, so there is that visible seam right there. So I have those strips on now, so I hot glued them underneath each edge. So I hot glued them at each edge, right there and there, and then in the middle. And then these top ones, I found they are actually loose enough for me to just go ahead and glue them down and still be able to get the bracer on. But these bottom ones are too tight for me to be able to do that, so I am going to put a small snap. So I'm just going to hot glue one side to here and then sew the other side here, and that is how these will close. Here it is, pretty much done. I do still have one more thing that I need to do, and I just need to do a top stitch right here to connect this ribbon to this underlayer. That is actually something that is visible on hers, so I am going to do that, and then this will be done. But for this video, I am going to call it good. So this is my second one, and then here is my first one. So here is that top stitching that I am talking about. I do still need to do it on these bottom too, but there they are, my bracers. I am really happy with how they came out. They are really easy to get on and pretty comfortable. Alright, so here it is on. These ribbon pieces are a little loose, so I might go in and tighten them up a little bit, but it is fitting very nicely, and I am really happy with it. So after I finished these, I did actually notice that I had a detail wrong, and you can clearly see that I fixed it already. So I thought that the bracers had this knot detail right in the center here. They do not. These ribbons just cross straight over each other like this. The shin guards do actually have this knot detail on them. I have found very clear images of it being on the shin guards, but not the bracers. What probably happened is I had seen a little bit of a not so great picture of the bracers and then seen this on the shin guards and just assumed it was also on the bracers, but it's not. So I have gone in and fixed this one already, and I am going to go ahead and fix this one so that they are correct. So this is correct, this is not. I will see you in my next video. I hope you found this helpful or useful in any way, or at least entertaining. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video in any way, and I will see you next time. Bye!